on my box. Kind of wanted to make a better video of this. So I went ahead and copied over the command line from the homebrew brew.sh on just go ahead and install it. And again, it's basically straightforward. Nothing big deal here. We're just going to go ahead and set the shell. Or then we go ahead and we just do the CURL, go ahead and download, install the entire install script. And then go ahead and we need to go ahead and do our password. I think I just boo-booed that. I did. All right, so it just gave me a whole bunch of stuff to go do, right? So we're going to install all of this stuff. That's good. Going to go ahead and make a bunch of directories, writable. So it's going to set some other things that are going to go along the way. And then the command line tools will be installed. So yeah, we want to go ahead and press enter because we want it to go ahead and do its thing. So again, while it's doing all this, essentially we kind of get a complete update to everything that's going on with my Windows or my Apple box here, which is great. So we get command line tools, which are really needed. And that was one of the things I noted, that with the GitHub desktop that I installed earlier, it did not download the command line tools. So I'm kind of glad that Homebrew is going to go ahead and do that for me while I'm going to go ahead and install it. So that's kind of a big one for me, getting that to go. So downloaded, got all the things, installing. It's a little bit weak on what it gives you for responses back. So you may not know if it's doing a thing, but it really is. It's just more kind of not exactly the most chatty install software that we've ever had. So you kind of don't really know what it's doing, but then you do kind of know what it's doing. All right, so let's go ahead and let it finish up the install here and let it go. Here my computer's starting to run. So that's actually a good thing. Again, bad UI. Bad UI is when you don't tell the user what stage or step or process you're in when you're installing software. All right, see, that's much better, right? When it tells you what it's doing, that is so much better. And boom. Uh-oh, what happened? Uh-oh, so we had a fail here. So we resolved everything, we pulled it out, did that. And went ahead and did that. And I got head is now merge pull request. Error, homebrew is a shallow clone. To brew update first run, get C user homebrew. Core fetch on shallow. Okay, let's try this then. So sometimes if you do have an error like this, it will try to give you a really good thing on this. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. Let's see if we go. Okay, so if we do have an error, that's interesting. So apparently what I'm reading here, right, and this is a really good error to have, I'm kind of glad that we're getting it right, is that if you do go ahead, something called a shallow clone, and we're going to have to go figure out what that actually means, right? But that's actually a good thing to know about because the command may take a few minutes to run due to the large size of the repository. So essentially what we had to do is go back and kind of force it to do the full repository rather than just whatever a shallow repository is, or a shallow clone. So it's just interesting. Interesting. All right, so let's see what happens. But again, so this is actually really kind of a bad UI again, where we're like, okay, what is the program actually doing? Man, 27 years later kind of thing. But it's just kind of interesting. I'm kind of glad we got an error like this, just because it makes it a little bit more interesting. Generally, these installs go really, really, really super quick without an issue. I've done this a million times, and this is the first time I've ever seen this whole idea of a shallow clone. I'm just kind of curious what a shallow clone is. So let's go check that out. Shallow clone. All right. Oh, so the shallow clone lets you pull down just the latest commits, not the entire repo. But because this is a full brand new install, I need the whole thing, not just the changes. So I actually need a full on thing. So basically what ended up happening is that we had an unexpected behavior issue, which is great, right? Because I need to go and be able to pull down the full GitHub for this. So that's really kind of interesting. So I wonder why we actually did that whole process. Yeah, so we were going to be copying all the outer objects, the main objects for this, but we weren't ever going to install all of the inner objects, any kind of dependencies or anything else. So that's fascinating. I'm kind of glad we got that. So, where's Paul? And again, bad UI, because I don't know where it's going here. I don't know what it's doing, but it should be doing a thing. My network looks pretty quiet, so I can't get a real indication there. Huh, interesting. But hey, at least I got my command line for tools, and that's okay. That means I should be able to pass a version request now. Interesting. Oh man, I love errors. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here, just because there's no point in having. Well, actually, let's just leave it running, because I can always edit it down, just in case something goes on while I'm there. Buddy, man, that's interesting. Interesting. Huh. Mm. Hmm. I would really love to know what this thing is doing right now. That seems to be a really common error. Ooh, there we go. We got some data coming back. All right, so we've got some objects being enumerated there. That's hot. Oh, goodness, here we got. At least I'm getting some bandwidth here. Wow, dude, this is going to be ugly. This is going to be a giganto file. Okay, now it's doing the thing. Man, this is some bad UI without letting me know what's going on. Okay, let's go ahead and then do this brew update. Let's see where we go from there. Dude, what the heck? Okay. Wow, buddy, that's interesting. No, I'm really glad we're getting these errors because this is just like, wow, fascinating. All right, so you're probably wondering, okay, why am I like moving so fast? So here's the deal. All right, so we did a brew update. Brew update aired out for me, so that was interesting. And then we just went ahead and did brew upgrade, which is the next recommended step. And went ahead from there, and now this seems to actually be working. So updates versus upgrading versus all the other things. We had an error in here somewhere. Saw that error go by. Error brew link for Monterey. All right, so it's having a problem with Docker. All right, so yeah. Okay, so there you go. So, brew. Version, did I get that? Okay, so I have a good install of Homebrew, which is great, surprisingly enough, with all of the errors. So, you know, honestly, man, sometimes you have to kind of do things. So let's go back through what we actually did here on this. So I went ahead and we did the whole go install Homebrew using the script, and then we did our sudo access and we logged in, and it told me exactly what it was going to install, and we went, sure, go ahead and do it. And then it went ahead and made all the changes locally that we were looking to have it do. I did all the change mods, made all the make durs and all the other things it needed to do, but then it kind of started going down and doing stuff after it did the command line tools for Xcode, which I was missing that. GitHub for desktop did not install command line tools, which is interesting. But then we started airing out here. We started doing a lot of objects and other things. So we enumerated what was going on with that entire Homebrew program. And then it went ahead and did this whole long list of stuff for the current version, and then gave me an error. And it gave me the shallow clone rule, which is basically we didn't download everything we needed to download, so it errored out, it failed. And then basically it said to brew update first run this. So we went ahead and we made a local copy of everything that was in GitHub for Homebrew. And then we went ahead and we ran the brew update, right? But that also errored out. It found a bunch of new stuff that we really, really wanted, which is nice, right? But then it went ahead and did other things along the way that we're really not too sure what it did. Now that's cool though, is it gave me AWS things, AWS curl and other things which we'll want later on, right? But it gave me a lot of AWS commands, which is nice. I actually really like that. So these are all the things that added up, did a bunch of other things that are really kind of cool that went along with it. Then we got more errors. 6 outdated formulae were installed. We can go ahead and do that. Could not link to user. Please delete these paths. So somewhere along the line there's some weird brew thing going on, don't know what. So then it said, hey, clear these links and paths and run brew update. These links, I didn't know where they were. So we went and looked for them, couldn't find them. That's okay. Then we went ahead, just did the update, and the update seemed to go okay. It gave me all the packages. We got the one error on Docker, which is okay. And again, Docker's a little funky on this computer, so I need to do something about that as well when we get into that. But we were able to go ahead and get this done, and we were able to get Homebrew installed, and we were like good to go. So that's it. Install Homebrew with errors on Apple. I actually like that. The errors are pretty good.